Welcome to Muskegon Rising, a community service project of the Muskegon Rotary Club. Our purpose is to create lasting positive change. We've been doing that here since 1916. So, let's get started.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Kendrah Robinson. I am here with Mr. Frederick Johnson, and I'm your host today for Muskegon Rising. And today you're going to find out all the wonderful information about the Public Defender's Office of Muskegon County. So, hello, Mr. Frederick Johnson. How are you?
Kendrah, good afternoon. And just for truth in advertising here, Kendrah and I work with each other.
He's my boss.
We kind of know each other. We've kind of spent some time working on the same roof, doing the same sorts of things. So I don't expect us to be very formal. Let's just talk.
We'll do that. Well, Mr. Johnson, you're my boss. I'm going to just call you Fred if you don't mind.
Please.
All right. Your work at the Public Defender's Office. Can you tell us about your role before you got there, your legal career? How did you get to this place?
It wasn't straight. It wasn't a straight path. I tried a lot of different things because no one tells you that when you go to law school, once you come out, you don't even know if you want to practice law. You've never done it. You've studied it, but you don't know if you want to practice it, and you don't know where. You want to be a tax attorney? You want to be a divorce attorney? You want to do public defense? You want to prosecute? You don't know. So I did what most people do, what most people would like to do, and that's I got a chance to try a lot of different things. I went straight from law school into the United States Navy, and they let me practice law as a what they call a JAG officer. United States Navy lawyers are called JAG officers, and I got a chance to run the gamut. They let me prosecute, they let me defend, they let me do some family law, they let me do some property law. I got to do a little bit of everything, and it didn't sink in even then. But over time, I just sort of gravitated. It just seemed like, in terms of work experience and enjoyment of what I'm doing, this criminal defense stuff really kind of motivated me. I really wanted to get up in the morning when I got to do some of this sort of work.
Were you originally in Muskegon?
No, I'm from Grand Rapids. I was born and raised in Grand Rapids, grew up on the southeast side. I came over to Muskegon when this position became available in 2013. And I moved over, and I've been a resident since then. But I'm originally from GR.
As I am.
Okay.
I am. So we're both happy transients to this wonderful city.
And
county.
we are. I'm very happy about being here.
Muskegon's a wonderful place to be, an awesome place to work. And for the viewers, I've been in practice under your supervision and for 9 years now.
Really?
9,
Holy
yes.
mackerel.
Learning a lot from the first day of practice up to now where I am working. But if you can share a little bit about what a public defender does.
Okay.
You practiced a little bit in Grand Rapids, well, a lot in Grand Rapids, but you weren't a public defender there, correct?
That's correct. I was
all right.
private
So if
attorney.
you can share, what's the difference between a public defender and what many people know as a private attorney?
Okay. A public defender, we represent a certain group of people. Maybe it's even to go the other way. A private attorney is also an attorney who represents these people, but they represent them on their own selection. And usually that means that they pay to be hired. When I was a private attorney, people paid me, but also had people who we would do work for and not desire payment, but I was still private. I made that choice. A public defender is a person who provides defense work, okay? And let's put it this way. We, at our office, we defend those people who have two things in common. One, they're unable to hire an attorney themselves. And two, there is a significant liberty interest being threatened by the government. What does that mean? A significant liberty interest means the government is threatening to put you in jail. Your liberty, obviously, being able to walk around here with the rest of us is a significant interest with you, and we represent you in those situations.
Let's specifically talk about those situations.
Okay.
What kinds of cases can a public defender be appointed to?
Okay. There's two sections in our office. One is the family division, and because that's another significant family liberty interest, your right to raise your kids is a significant liberty interest. So if the government is threatening to remove your children, either temporarily or permanently, and you can't afford a lawyer, we represent you there.
Okay.
If the matter is criminal, So there's a charge against you, and they're saying that you did something that's illegal. We represent you if you're indigent. Obviously, you can't afford it, but also if there's a chance that there's a possibility that you could go to jail. So we don't represent every criminal charge. If there's a criminal charge, for instance, a lot of cases, trespassers don't go to jail. We don't represent those folks. But anything else from jaywalking to felony homicide, our office will represent.
So a public defender could never be appointed to a civil matter.
That's correct.
Okay.
If it's your money, we don't represent
deal
that.
with it.
If it's your taxes, if it's a divorce, if it's custody, that's the sort of thing. We don't deal with those issues. We deal with those issues that involve incarceration and involve removal of children.
Our office, we're located in Muskegon County.
Mm-hmm.
We represent every single city in the county.
Correct.
Can you shed some light on the attorneys who cover all these cases throughout our county? How they're recruited, why they're here, why you selected them. If somebody was to be represented by an attorney at our office, who could they expect to see?
Okay. Because I'm the director, I've had a hand in the hiring of all the attorneys. There's 20 of us there between the family division and the criminal division. And so what you look for varies in the person. I don't have a cookie cutter formula for who I want to work over there, but there are a couple of things I always look for.
Okay.
I always look for people with a passion for the work. Any work is difficult if you don't want to be there. If you're just there to make a living, you're not going to be very good at this. This is something where people have a lot on the line, and they need somebody who's in there as passionate as they are in terms of making sure that what's the best can happen for you happens for you. The second thing I'm looking for is a grounding. And when I say a grounding, it could be your religious background. It could be your family anchor. It could be something that motivates you to do the right thing. That's what I want to see. I want somebody to tell me that when they walk in their door, they've already got something that's greater than this job.
That they want to contribute.
That they want to contribute.
Awesome.
I want to be able to tell a applicant, if you make a mistake, if you treat me wrong, I'm going to call your mother. I want to know where your background comes from,
right?
Because I can build a good lawyer. I can't build a good person. You have to bring that to the job, and that's what I'm looking for. And if you listen to the stories of the people, you won't see anything that really is consistent, except for that. There's something about them. There's something that says, you know what, I've got to do the right thing. And that's what we're looking for.
Would it be fair to say they have a passion to serve?
Oh, my goodness, yes.
This is a people job.
It really is. I enjoy people who come in, even at the interview, they're arguing with me because they don't agree. No, this is what should happen. And, okay.
Yep, you might be right for us.
You might be right for us. They're arguing with me because they don't agree that that's fair, or they don't believe that that's right, or that's justice. That's the person I want. Even if it turns out that that's incorrect, or I'm incorrect, I want that person. I want that person to go in there with bare knuckles saying, look, we're all here to do justice. Whatever side of the coin we find ourselves situated on, let's do some justice here. And that's the person we want at that office.
Fred, I know in my own experience that with the cases that we receive, it could be a lot sometimes, all the time.
Yes.
Can you kind of shed some light on how our caseload could look for the average public defender who may want to practice in our county? Okay.
This is not a job for people who are trying to skate by. This is a busy work. This is a lot of pressure and a lot of time. And one of the things that our lawyers spend a lot of time on is trying to figure out that family work balance. Because this job could take every minute that you give it and consume it and still need more. It is a voracious thing. Public defenders by trade, by tradition, have always been overburdened. It's always been caseloads, too large caseloads per person. That's just, you go back 150 years. That's the situation. And that has not changed. What we try to do to complement our lawyers is to have a lot of them, so that we can share burdens, so that when people take time off, there's somebody to carry the load or get sick. We have burdens so that you don't have to know everything. The law changes at a rapid rate. It's not just the caseload. It's the law that's being changed. Every day there's some new law in there that you have to be, like medicine, you have to be up on. So what we try to do is we work as a community to provide the highest standard of care as we can to as many people as we can. Can we use more? Yes. That is another issue. We are always looking for people who are motivated, and we're always looking to add to our numbers when we can. But I don't see this ever changing. I don't ever see it changing to the point where you're saying, that's an appropriate number for that person. We're always going to be.
I haven't seen it go that way.
This is a place with people for passion. This is a place for people who just want to do something right for somebody.
I heard you mention high standard. There is a standard for attorneys out there. Mm-hmm. But I have heard many, many times in the court when the judge asks, did you have an attorney represent you at this hearing? And the client responds, I had a public defender. Mm-hmm. Can you please give the information that I think a good majority of people may not know? What is that high standard that public defenders must meet when comparing to a private attorney or somebody who is paid?
The standard is the same. The goal is excellence. It has always been excellence.
Can you talk about the requirements for a public defender?
A public defender, yes, you must be a law school graduate, and you must have the requisite experience to take the case. In other words, we're not going to take someone from straight out of law school and put them in a case with an armed robbery. We train our people. Basically, law school teaches how to think like a lawyer and very little else. Everything else has to be trained once you get out of law school. And that's really what we are. We are the incubator for most of the great lawyers to come. That's where they're going to learn their stuff is within our building. And they can learn it because they can work with a lawyer who has been there for 15 years and who's seen this and who knows how to get what your client needs. And that's how you learn. At this point, it's hands-on, it's experience, but it's also mentoring. And we provide a staff of mentors in our office that I don't think has an equal in the county. We are a vibrant hub of information and training, and we train our lawyers. We continue the training. The training continues forever in our office, and we're always trying to get better. And for our clients, the proof is in the pudding. We invite our clients to come by and look at the office. We have and talk to the lawyers and find out why we're the best for you. We'll compete with whoever you hire.
For the record, public defenders are attorneys.
That's right.
Who have passed the same test as anybody else.
That's correct.
Who's an attorney.
That's correct.
Only
ours are better.
Only
ours are super. Ours are better. I have a lot of pride in that office. It's the finest group of attorneys I've ever worked for. Private, military, everywhere. This is a group. This is a group of individuals who, if my brother were to catch a case, these are the people who I want to defend him. You just don't get better you don't get better attorneys anywhere else in the county.
Can you share some major things that have changed since the start of 2014 to now in our office?
Yes. There are a couple of major things, and fortunately I haven't been the reason, the cause for them. When you're in, when you hire a private attorney, a paid attorney, you get whatever that attorney can bring to the table, and usually that's all of his or her experiences and what he or she knows and how he or she does it. When you come to a public defender, you're getting the experiences and the knowledges of 20 lawyers. Okay, they're all available to your attorney to ask questions of. But the thing that, to answer your question directly, that was dramatically changed is our shift from just being attorneys, which is what most public attorneys, private attorneys are, to be holistic attorneys. What that means is we assume that our clients are more than just the individuals that we see. We assume that behind every client there's a family, there are children that depend. There's history, there are issues, there are barriers, there are impediments, there are talents, there are opportunities, there are drives. But because of that, someone's circumstances, they're not able to fulfill those goals and they achieve the things they want to achieve. So we hire social workers at our office. Social workers to come in, and if you have a drug issue, our social workers can work with you. We hire people.
So they work directly with the attorneys?
They work directly
with
the case. Think of a team. If you're a client in my office, your lawyer basically will have your lawyer plus there may be a second lawyer, someone to sit second chair, There will probably be a research lawyer involved. There will probably be a social worker involved. There will probably be an intern or more involved. And there may be even a second lawyer, a group of lawyers that you go to every week and you just bounce cases off. There are a lot of people that are involved in your case that you may never see, but they're always there at this office. And that holistic process means that we're providing a result that we think, one, it works out better for you in court, but secondly, addresses the issues that brought you in, that got you into trouble in the first place. If substance abuse is the issue, we address that. If homelessness is the issue, we address that. If you're not getting along with your significant others, those things are all addressed because we have the ability to do that. That's a revolution. That's a revolution. And
I was around. Mm-hmm. Sorry to interrupt. I didn't mean to. When our social work teams came in, and I've noticed the tremendous difference it makes.
Sure.
They're able to work with your client before you even get there.
Sure.
Sometimes make those visits, and by the time you get to a certain kind of hearing with the judge or the prosecutor, what you hope to have been resolved is already touched on. And it makes a dramatic change, especially in the sentences.
And the judges and the prosecutors love it.
Yes, they do.
They love it. It is, you're trying to get justice. And if the only option you can give a judge is to put somebody in jail, it's the only tool they have. It's the only tool they use. If I have an option that I can put them in treatment, or I can get them to work with Health West, or I can help them stabilize, get a driver's license. Judges love that. They much rather go with that option.
Alternatives.
Yes, and that's what and I think that's and that full disclosure. Amanda Mateer and Chad Catalino. This was their brainchild. This was not invented by Fred. This was two lawyers in my office that came up with this idea that and brought it back to us, and we've made it work, and it has now become the standard for the state of Michigan. We're not just doing it now. It started in Muskegon, but now it is funded and expected everywhere in the state of Michigan because it works.
That's awesome, and you took the next question out of the answer on that next question, which was how are other public defenders responding to how we have established our holistic program here, and you've answered it.
And they're stealing our people.
Well,
we have the trained people to do it.
We get them ready to go out in the world,
so
right?
They take these folks, and more power to them, because we've got some great people out there, and they recruit these people. They go out, they start up their own holistic and their own social work, their own additional services, and now it's everywhere in the state of Michigan. We do, however, still boast a high saturation. We have more social work and social work interns per capita than probably anywhere else in the state.
They love starting at our office.
They love starting at our office. It's a great place to start. It's a great place to work.
Can you tell us some things that the public defender's office is doing outside of the courtroom in the community? Oh my goodness.
Okay. Yeah, that we do lots of stuff, but I can give you a list. But as a lawyer, I know it's better to tell you a story, so I'm going to tell you a story so that you can get kind of an idea what's going on. I'm sitting in my office, and some of my interns come into the office. And these interns are social work interns, and they say, Fred, what we want to do is we want to give formal dresses, prom dresses, to a group of girls. And fine, that's fine, but I'm wondering, what is the connection between that and the public defender's office, prom dresses? And they said, well, these girls are girls who are on the edge. They're on the edge. They're facing challenges. They're falling out of schools. Their grades are dropping. They're getting into trouble. They're ending up at the detention center. They could go either way now.
So these are maybe clients on the family side.
And they unfortunately, if they start out family and juvenile on the family side, a lot of times they end up as clients on the adult side.
Yes, they do.
If we don't get to them, so that's great. This is a reward. If they don't get any more trouble and they stay in school, we'll give them a formal dress. That's great. Go to it. And I sat back there and took all the credit. What they did was they went out and they got 39 dresses.
Oh, wow.
And they notified all the schools. And they got a place, an auditorium, a gym, where they had all these dresses on the rack.
Wow.
And you have to understand, I'm a guy. I have no idea what a formal dress means to a young lady. But when those young ladies succeeded and they opened those doors and they came in, if you were old enough to remember what it looked like when the Beatles came on the Ed Sullivan Show,
I wasn't.
And those girls were screaming.
I can imagine.
That's what it looked like, and I'm just taken aback. I had no idea. It was one of the most heartwarming things that I've ever seen. We had one young lady who came in and tried on all 39 dresses. these are young ladies who would not have had a dress but for this situation that these interns did. And that's who we are. It's impactful. It's one of those things I'll take to my grave. It's wonderful. We've raised money for cancer. We do expungement fairs whenever we're invited. The expungement means getting your record cleared up from past convictions. We've given away turkeys on Thanksgiving. Part of what a public defender lawyer does that a private lawyer doesn't have to do is a public defender's role in giving back is graded as part of their job. It is graded, and you will get a number for it, and it helps you get raises. It helps you advance in the office. You are expected, you are anticipated to do public service for this community, and so it is a big deal from us, and that's the way it's been since 2014. And there's always something that's being done, and it doesn't always have to start with me. These dresses start with these interns? It was their idea.
I like how you allow the open-mindedness of the office to come to help spread what we do outside the courtroom. I believe that it shows a community essence, a presence. What are you most proud of our office?
If I to respond to your last point, if you were stupid, I wouldn't have hired you. You don't need me to stand there and tell you what to do. I hire smart people so I can step back and I can sit back and just take the credit. What I'm most proud of in this office is the thousands of people you all have helped. We see 10,000 people a year. Multiply that by 14 years. The thousands. And you have to understand it's not just the client. Behind every client, there's 2 or 3 kids and a mom and a dad and a brother and a sister and a job that needs them to show up regularly so they can do their thing. There are literally hundreds of thousands of people that this office has touched in the 14 years it's been around. And that's a legacy for the office. I'm glad I'm associated with it. I'm proud to be associated with it. But the legacy is the office's legacy. We've done something that's positive for folks. We help people out. We help people out every single day. And after all those people and all those years, these lawyers still care. They come to work every day twisted out of shape because they're up at 2 o'clock in the morning, look at the ceiling, looking for the answer.
Trying to figure it out. What would you like to see to happen with this Muskegon County Public Defender's Office that you helped start even after your time is gone from the office?
I have a pet project that I'd love to see happen. I mean, I think given the people in there will keep it going. I think they love it as much as I do. But I have a pet project that I'd love to get involved in, and maybe I will get involved in once I leave. One of the things that happens is if you're charged with a crime, a judge is going to set a bond. If you're rich, you go home. If you're not, you stay in jail.
It happens that way.
I want, in New York and in some other places, they're experimenting with a bonding company run by the public defender or a public agency that provides bonds to poor people who aren't able to afford them.
I wasn't aware that public defender's office were doing that. I've heard of some grant programs.
Bronx do it in New York, but they have to give. But that's it. The seed money has to be there.
Okay, understand.
But the point
wonderful.
is, you don't have to come up with the money. I have a client today, 5 kids, $200 bond. I can't get her out. She doesn't have $200. Who's going to take care of those kids? That shouldn't happen. It doesn't. Just because you're rich doesn't mean you're safer. Okay? There's no correlation between how much money you make and why you should sit in jail. But that's what happens. And it's the system that we have. I'm not blaming anybody, but I think there's an alternative that's better. I think we should be getting people out of jail if they're not a danger to others. I don't care. If they show up, sometimes they don't show up, okay? I'm going to be honest. Sometimes my clients don't show up, folks.
Sometimes they don't.
But if you balance that against keeping a human being locked up, I think the balance is give the person a chance to prove themselves, let them go home.
Much needed for bond reformation.
Yeah. So if I were to get a chance to do something like that, I'd like to get involved in that once I really leave the office.
Well, Fred, if you are gone from the office, we can carry it on for you.
I appreciate it. I know you will. That's the thing this office is a living, thinking organism, and it replaces parts, and it'll replace it'll replace me, it'll replace you, it'll replace the ones that came before us, it'll replace it. But the organism itself, the soul of the organization, The soul of the organization remains intact, and we'll continue to work for these people, and we'll continue to help people because it's what we do. It's part of our DNA. We can't help it. Most of my lawyers can make more money somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Most of them can make. I have no doubt about it. They could do other work, and many of them, and I'm not going to mention names, have been offered more money elsewhere. Ms. Robinson, they do this because this is the juice that gets you up in the morning. It's what makes you proud of being a lawyer, you know?
Fred, Muskegon is so blessed to have a director like you over to the Muskegon County Public Defender's Office. I, as an employee over all these years, told you many times would rather work nowhere else. But I tell you this, we appreciate the work you do, the passion you have for the job you do, and all the many citizens you've touched in our county. Thank you for joining us today.
You're very welcome. And thank you for the County of Muskegon for giving me this opportunity, for giving me a chance to do so much. It's a blessing that gives back. I'm blessed for being in this position as well.
Absolutely.
So I'm very appreciative to the county commissioners, but I'm also mostly appreciative to this community that has embraced me. I'm from out of town. I got neighbors bringing me, when I'm moving into my place, I got neighbors bringing me cakes and stuff. You know, people have this idea of public defenders and Muskegon. It's not true.
Yeah.
I've never lived in my life in a better neighborhood than where I live in the Muskegon Heights. Thank you very much. And man, the Lord's blessed me in so many ways just to be here and just do this. So thank you, Muskegon. I appreciate you too.
Thank you again.